Gavin, there's one more thing that we need to consider here also. This is Tony Shelton.
Tony.
One more thing to consider also is this travesty that's happened, the skirting of the Constitution with all of this charge stacking and plea bargaining. Okay, 90 some odd % of all cases are plea bargained. Exactly. Now, a lot of people might say, "Oh, that's letting the criminals off easy. They're able to plea bargain." Well, in reality, that's not what's happening. What's happening is they're stacking so many charges on these people, whether they're innocent or not. They go ahead and plead guilty, or they plead an Alford plea or a no contest or something like that, just to get out of jail because they are scared to death that everything is stacked against them. And that is skirting the Constitution. Now, why can they do that? The reason they can do that is because we haven't filled up the courts with hundreds and thousands of people who assert their rights and say, "I will take a jury trial." If we did that, they wouldn't have time to prosecute all these victimless crimes.
No, they wouldn't. But what's happening, Tony, and I've seen this firsthand, is as soon as they get you in the system, and we're seeing this even with the few people from Oregon that they're letting go, "Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't have a gun. If you violate any of these things, you'll be going back to prison." They absolutely terrorize the accused. He's not innocent until proven guilty. And so most of these people, and this goes back to this larger conversation, really there shouldn't even be plea deals, arguably, but what's really happening here is most of the people that even committed real crimes never got their day in court. Most of the people sitting in prison right now never got their day in court. So number one, people can start doing that. And I would absolutely say, for those misdemeanor crimes and stuff in particular, where they're not going to put you away for a long time, demand a jury trial on every one of those. I mean, break down the system. That won't fix the courts, but it might slow them down. But in the larger sense as well, we really need to grasp how corrupt it is. There's no fixing, there's not going to be a top-down fixing of these courts. Look, it says everything that none of the current presidential candidates have said, "I would pardon these Oregon patriots because they're defending the Constitution." That says everything. These guys are not really stepping up to defend the Constitution. We've got to stop playing politics. We've got to start stepping up. And then the final leg in that court system, and really I think, short of divine intervention, I think the only way that they're going to get justice in these courts is the one thing that still remains, and one of the things we fought the American Revolution for, and that's jury nullification. But the thing is, they won't even let the lawyers talk about this. And so we could start some campaigns down in Oregon to try and educate people on jury nullifications. I've put out some videos on it. You have, is it the National Liberty Alliance that does, Fully Informed Jury Association does a lot of stuff on that. But you got Pete Santilli in jail for reporting the news. You've got patriots in jail for defending the Constitution. In every sense, the criminals are the ones pointing the finger and locking the jail cell. I mean, we got everything backwards and turned upside down. The problem is that even if we educate the jurors, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, they say, "Well, I'd rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6. Well, guess what? They're going to allow the jury they want in that room. They're going to allow the audience they want. They're already operating secret courts with no cameras, and people can't get in there to see what's going on. What do we expect? And so we need to start being realistic about these things. We need to figure out what we can do. Let's get cameras in those courtrooms. Let's see if we can start educating people, from our legislators to people like me and my brother to our pastors. The pastors have to start stepping up in the pulpit and stop hiding. And I would call to people like Franklin Graham, stop making excuses for the government. Start stepping up. Law is not what government says. Law is the foundation of law. It's our God-given rights. It's what our Constitution says. And so in the implicit and literal sense, when we say, well, we need to obey the law, the patriots in Oregon were obeying the law. The FBI and the government officials were disobeying the law, not only under moral law, but under this Constitution right here and the law of our land. So look, I can ramble in any video and try to put this stuff out there, and I will certainly be doing more. Michele, where can people find you and anybody else that was over there? Let's kind of shout out the names of the legislators and stuff that were down on the ground. And do you have anything before we close here that you want to add to this?
I do want to add that I really urge everyone to get involved with their elected officials. If you don't know who they are, find out. If you're not registered to vote, vote. Because if you don't vote, you are voting anyway, because your lack of vote will put that person in that position. sometimes it's 2 to 9 votes short of getting, one or the other elected. So I just want people to, they can go to my website, which is michellefiore.com, and it's Michele, MICHELEFIORE, michellefiore.com. It is very, very important that they get to meet their legislators. They get to meet the people that are running to represent them, and look at their history. I say to folks, if your representative is asking you for your vote, ask them, what have they done for the community? What have they done for the people that they're asking for their vote from? Because we have a lot of like campaigning, say whatever, people want to hear to get elected. And then we have people that are actually true elected officials with a record, with a past, and with a reputation for standing up for people.
Right. Yeah.
So
and we need to get those people in there.
And Shelley Shelton, what is your email?
Shelley Shelton, Nevada@gmail.
Okay. And what's your website? Shelley Shelton.
ShelleySheltonNevada.com is your website.
Yep. ShelleySheltonNevada.com is her website. We have John Moore. We have so many people that, then we have our Idaho. We had Heather Scott there and Judy Boyles. I don't know their emails. We have also our Coalition of Western States, COWS, that they can go onto that website and see the elected officials there. We have Matt Shea out of Washington. We have Kelly Townsend out of Arizona. We have about 12 Arizona reps. We have Utah reps, and we have a ton of people that were out there. And again, you just really have to get to know your representatives and call them out. Call your representatives out publicly.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially on the local level, get the vote out. And I want to preface what you said, because I know a lot of people have this concern. I don't compromise my principle in voting anymore. If there's not a candidate worth voting for, then find one, find a write-in, do something. Don't sell out liberty to the lesser of two evils. Step up and start finding people. Run yourself if you have to. Find a sheriff, find representatives like Michele that are actually doing something. Don't just listen to what they say at the political forums and see who's the best speaker or has the best ads, because most people are voting in America on ignorance. And we're not simply going to fix this at the ballot box. It's going to take real action. The ballot box is kind of something everybody should be doing, just like sharing things on Facebook, but everybody's got to get involved. So Michele, thank you for being down there in Oregon, and to all you guys down there, and to Mike Arnold and to everybody working behind the scenes. I mean, there's lots of people that get credit, and it's most of all, we need to appeal to heaven. God needs to give us a path, because we are in a serious mess here, America. And so I would put it on that. But I think we're about done here. If you have nothing else to add, Nathan's been over here moderating, so I appreciate that, and some of my other family members and friends as well. There's always lots of people working on the back end to keep the message going. Do any of you have any final words?
No, I just want to thank your dad for his beautiful prayers when we were going through that with talking with the guys in the refuge.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. That was Grant Syme, and he's he knows where it's at. So, all right. Well, hey, I want to thank you all for listening. I'm sure we'll be back and do this again, and I'm going to keep getting the short, sweet videos out to try and deal with the points. I'll try to keep you updated as much as I can, and hopefully Michele and the other representatives will do that as well. We'll try and stay up to date and make sure we're supporting our guys behind bars. But we've got to stand. We've got to rise. And I'm tired. I'm done playing politics. I'm done with the excuses. And let me, to the cowards and haters of liberty, let your names fade into the night. Let our posterity say these. Let our posterity never say that to these people that oppose liberty. Let them never say that these were men to emulate. Let them say that your approval is not needed, and that your willingness to be trampled defines insanity for those with the courage to love their neighbor and stand principled for liberty. And that's what we need to do. That's how we need to stand. This falls to us. If we don't do something, we pass on the shackle of a slave to our children and to our grandchildren. Hey, thank you all. Good to have you here, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes.